It happens that everything that we do stays recorded and nothing is erased. Everything that we think, everything that we feel is perfectly recorded. If we know what a hard drive of a computer is, or if we know what a flash drive memory is, then we will be aware that in that hard drive or in that memory card, there's a tremendous accumulation of information. Before the discovery of the use of the silicone, we did not know that we could store and compress a great amount of information. This does not mean that nature does not use its own hard drive to memorize and to record everything that takes place. It is possible that I do not remember everything that I have done. Nevertheless, everything that I have done is perfectly recorded. If we give a DVD, a CD, or the memory card to somebody, but if this individual does not know how to use it, nor how to decode any of these items, this individual will not be able to access absolutely any of this precious information. So everything that we do, it's been recorded, and with respect to everything that we did, a manifestation will begin to take place. When we normally leave this plane of existence in our pathway to disincarnate, we go through a life review process of everything that we have lived at a very fast speed. So when our physical body is going to return to its original basis, then the physical body goes back to where we have taken it from. The individual, in order to get out from earth, cannot take anything that belongs to the earth, since the physical body, when it was developing as a fetus in the mother's womb, was formed by all the nutrients and everything that the mother ate during the pregnancy, and all these substances were extracted from the earth. Then this new physical body takes a soul in order to manifest itself in this reality. The moment the umbilical cord is severed, and in the moment in which God, metaphorically speaking, blows into the nose of the individual and makes a living soul, and in the moment when the doctor spanks the newborn, turns him around, and he begins to breathe by himself, this newborn individual becomes independent from the mother's womb. This physical body that is composed of matter that exists from the earth, in order to manifest itself, relieves absolutely everything that he has experienced while in the mother's womb. Yesterday, we presented a slide where we saw how the individual was in the mother's womb. Within the 9 months of pregnancy, which are 9 solar months or 10 lunar months, goes through all the animal forms that exist in the planet until he finally arrives to the human form.
Pasa por todas las formas animales que hay en el planeta hasta llegar a la forma humana.
When this takes place, the individual then takes human form, which is attached to all the memories and everything that the individual has done.
Para esto, permítanme un momento.
I was explaining that within the yogic tradition, the sexual energy has an enormous transcendence. This sexual energy is a life force that the individual should take care of. When this energy becomes dormant, or if this energy is lost, then the individual becomes a vegetable. This individual will only dedicate himself to vegetate because he no longer has the faculty to transmute or to transform. When we get sick and we continuously sedate our bodies with narcotics, the nerve endings do not allow us to feel the physical pain. This, however, does not mean that the disease was eliminated.
eso no significa que la enfermedad
since we only have sedated our bodies to avoid feeling the
no
pain.
se manifieste el dolor.
As a
La
result,
enfermedad va a continuar.
the disease continues progressing, and this in turn begins to have its repercussions in the sexual energetic potential of the male or female. This is why in the yogic tradition, this sexual energy is preserved, in addition to what we eat, the habits that we practice, and absolutely everything else. As I was explaining yesterday, in order for the male to have a correct erection, it is required to have a good blood circulation.
Una buena circulación.
If a good blood circulation is not present, a deficiency in the erection begins to occur. In the Kabbalistic tradition, for those individuals who have studied Kabbalah, the name of God is composed of 4 letters, Yod, He, Va, He, which is read as Yahweh. Yod represents the masculine principle, and Ve represents the feminine principle. However, if the masculine principle and the feminine principle are separated, the individual cannot awake neither his masculine part nor his feminine part, or neither one. In this manner, in order to be able to comprehend what it is called the androgynous state, the female has to awake in the male the feminine part, and the male has to awake in the female the masculine part. However, what takes place when we begin to have an organic deficiency in our bodies, for example, when the nerve endings of the large intestine, small intestine, and the nerve endings of the rectum begin to malfunction, varicose veins begin to appear and start to swell, begin to bleed, and these then become hemorrhoids. Also, when an obstruction begins to develop in the blood circulation of our legs, then these and other physical conditions begin to negatively affect our Kundalini energy or our sexual energy. For this reason, it is not only about dealing with this issue energetically, but also it is about totally taking care of the body in order to have a synthesis, and this synthesis is going to be reflected in the sexual energetic potential. Going deeper in this topic, each of the individual sperms is going to fight for the illumination of the feminine ovum. Each of these individual sperms represents an entity from the astral plane which is fighting to enter to this terrestrial plane of existence. Of the millions and millions of sperms which are ejaculated during the sexual act, the general rule is that only one of these sperms is the one who illuminates the feminine ovum. The rest of the sperms, when they did not find the way to return, are going to continue seeking until they are able to find a uterus to illumine an ovum in this manner to make themselves present. Each of these individual sperms is transmitting, together with the ovum, a memory. Not only is the DNA being transmitted physically, but we also transmit all the genetic heritage. At the present time, through the study of genetic engineering, we can wonderfully corroborate how the esoteric part that was known by the Druids, the Celts, and the Egyptians, etc., can be corroborated by science, and now it is a reality. Not only do we inherit a nose of a certain size, not only do we inherit a particular color of eyes, not only do we inherit an emotional tendency, but everything in its totality is exhibiting a continuity. Scientifically, it is known that nothing is created and that nothing is destroyed. Everything is just transformed. If we begin to understand this principle, we never have ceased to exist. Consequently, the evolution goes from the mineral to the vegetable, from the vegetable to the animal, from the animal to the human. Therefore, the vegetable contains the mineral. The animal contains both the vegetable and the mineral. and the human is the synthesis of the mineral, vegetable, and animal kingdom. When, metaphorically speaking, Adam and Eve ate from the tree of science of good and evil and became aware that they were naked, is when the anthropoid awakes, the use of the rational mind. This is the first illumination. Once we obtain the use of the rational mind and our rights and responsibilities increase, because you have eaten from the tree of science of good and evil, you should be cast out of paradise, and you should earn your bread with the sweat of your brow. Normally, the animal does not require of a food supply in order to survive. Due to the fact that normally the animal does not utilize its rational mind, its responsibilities decrease completely. In the animal kingdom exists what is called the collective soul of the dog, the collective soul of the cat, the collective soul of the lion, and so on. However, when the anthropoid, which is the closest to the human, awakes its rational mind, is when the soul becomes individualized. For this reason, it is very important to understand that just like we have a physical body, we also have other 6 bodies. We have an astral body or the etheric body. Physically, with this hand, I cannot go across this piece of wood. However, with the astral body's hand, I can go through this piece of wood without any problem. Physically, if I want to go to Japan, I have to take an airplane to transport me. However, from the astral body's perspective, in seconds I can travel and arrive to Japan. The astral body or the etheric body is an exact copy of the physical body, that it is composed of a more settled and finer substance that is called ether. Those individuals that study chemistry or esotericism know that ether is what is called the 5th element, and the 4 primary elements are earth, water, air, and fire are composed of this 5th element. Our feelings and emotions form what is called the emotional body. The same thing takes place with our minds, since we have a mental body that it is composed of a more settled substance made out of mental molecules or mental energies.
El cuerpo mental está compuesto por una sustancia más sutil, está compuesta por moléculas mentales. Entonces es igual que el cuerpo físico.
Next, we have what is called the spiritual body. Then we have what is called the divine body, the supra-divine body, and an absolute body. When we begin to understand this, the physical body is the last manifestation of our being, and it is through this vehicle through which we manifest. When we die, the physical body has to return to the place where it was taken from. If we cremate the physical body, when it dies, if we throw it into the sea, if we launch it into space, or whatever means we use to decompose the physical body, this is going to go back to its original basis, because this cannot go with us in our soul's journey. What emerges from the body is our soul, and it is precisely the soul, the vehicle that unites all the bodies, and it is where we absolutely memorize everything. Since science states that nothing is created and that nothing is destroyed, that everything is only transformed, and that we always exist, we cannot have the option of not existing. We might begin to claim that we have a bad husband, my sons do not understand me, the economy is in crisis, I do not like my life, and then I begin to think that if I take a bottle of tranquilizing pills, if I jump from the 5th floor, or if I shoot myself, or if I commit suicide, with whatever means available, I therefore believe that I'm going to experience tranquility and peace. My teacher used to say that whoever did not see God in this reality, neither will he be able to see God in the spirit realm. If an individual leaves
y voy a estar en paz.
this physical dimension with an unevolved consciousness, he also will have an unevolved consciousness in the spiritual
Y si se fue
dimension.
bruto de aquí, bruto